Hello all, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought of making a video. It's been a long time. So the topic is very interesting and also confusing for some people. So I thought I'll make it simplified for you all to understand. So welcome to Bhargavi Rao Law Simplified. So we are going to talk about anything related to Indian and commercial foreign laws, international laws, anything related to law, and make it more simplified for people to understand. So this is like a understanding law for even the common man who don't know anything about like legal jargons and stuff. So if you are here, you are in the right place, and let's get started. So today we are going to talk about surrogacy. So there was an interesting article which came through, which I read and in a newspaper, and this is like a buzz going around. So it's about a celebrity having a child through surrogacy. So you might have seen this everywhere. So I don't want to go too much about it or morality about whether it's right, wrong, or what it is. I don't want to go too much about it. But I'm going to explain what this the specific law or act which is there, which is governing this, why there has been so much furor about it. So there's a law in India about governing the surrogacy. So that is the Surrogacy Regulation Act, which was established in 2017 to regulate all the commercial surrogacies. Okay, so you might think, what is commercial surrogacy? So there are two types of surrogacy. Okay, one is commercial surrogacy, another one is altruistic surrogacy. What is commercial? Commercial surrogacy in the sense we are hiring a woman. Okay, so you're paying a sum of money for a woman to bear a child for you. So that is commercial surrogacy. Altruistic surrogacy is if a couple, they know someone like in their family, they maybe their sister or brother or sister-in-law, just like a relation, right, cousins, sisters, or something like that in the family. They approach them to have a child for them. That is allowed. Okay, so many are confused with this concept. So I want to make it very clear that entirely the surrogacy is not banned. Only the commercial surrogacy is regulated. Okay, so also we have to understand that when we say regulated, it's really not blanket ban. There is a regulation for it. What does regulation mean? So first one is that only heterosexual couples can opt for surrogacy under this act. So that means many times they were seeing many homosexual couples were opting for surrogacy. That is not allowed anymore. Only heterosexual couples can be going forward with this. And the second one is divorcees and widows can also go through this commercial surrogacy. So they can opt for commercial surrogacy also. It is not banning them. So that they are still allowed. So what really is, now you might be thinking, okay, then what is the ban? So ban is on those people who are able to have the child, but they are using the commercial surrogacy for some other reasons, not really medical reasons, but aesthetic reasons, or they just don't want to go through the hassles of bearing a child, and they don't want to go through that reproduction process for other reasons other than medical reasons. So they are not allowed. And people who don't want to get married or who just want to have a child, they are also not allowed. Same sex couples are not allowed to have a child through commercial surrogacy. So these are the bans which is there. So if you really think about it, I'll come to the actual debate later on, but let me explain furthermore who can be a surrogate. Okay, so who can be a surrogate? So surrogate, any person who can be a surrogate is that person who should be between 25 to 35 years, and they have to be married. Okay, so they have to be married, and they should have a kid of their own. So they can go like someone who who can go for the second or third kid, who's able to have that. Only that person can be a surrogate. And second thing is altruistic surrogacy is still allowed. So for example, if any couple who is not able to have a child, they can approach someone in their family members, in their close family members, cousins, or sister or sister-in-law. They can approach them, and they can get a child through surrogacy. But again, this also will apply for them, that they have to be married and they have to have the child of their own. So no person should give their first child to the surrogate. So this kind of laws are there, they are put in place for a reason. And so now let's come to the debate, actually the moral debate. So the why exactly there was a ban, why this act came into place. First of all, why? Because as you all know, the surrogacy is like a pot of gold, right? So it's like easy way to make money, and a lot of money at a very short time, and especially in India, where the population is so high, and also the poverty level is quite grief. So this had become a money making scheme, right, for many people who wanted to make quick money, and they wanted to just give the child, so that like that. So the reason why there was a ban on this is because many were using this process for unethical and immoral reasons. So there was no proper documentation, or there was no proper there was like human trafficking. So this is a newborn baby we are talking about. So there was like we have, like, especially in Constitution of India, we have a strict rule against human trafficking. What is human trafficking? Human trafficking means taking somebody, even though it's a newborn child who doesn't know anything, taking someone without their will, so taking them, and they are not being loved, they are being traded like commodities. So they wanted to stop that. Okay, that is one. And second thing is also the right of reproduction which a woman has. Many times what happened, these women were not even inclined towards it, but they were being forced to be a surrogate by their family members or by their husband, because they were exploiting that the woman is fertile, and they wanted to exploit her right of reproduction. So because of all this, considering all these things, and also another one important aspect was, many times because these fertilizations were done through IVF, which through medical procedure, there were chances of having multiple pregnancies, like twins, triplets, quadruplets. So there are chances, because it's not natural process, there are chances of having multiple pregnancies. But the people who were actually wanted to buy the child wanted only one child, so they didn't wanted twins. So what will happen to the other twin? And the twins are separated, right? So they were like this, and this is not something which has not happened. You might think that, hey, this has not happened. This has happened, actually. There are many cases which have been reported, and this has happened. This is rampant everywhere. And not just that, even in China, if you go and see, this is a very common procedure, actually. So what had happened was, we were surpassing China, actually. So because, like, people who had an option, like if they're in developed countries and they want to have a child, they had an option to go China or India. So it was like that. So we were becoming that. Okay. So it is wrong in many moral reasons, actually. So many times you might say, like, oh, we are restricting the right of the person to have a child through surrogate. We are really not thinking about the child. A child, as per even in human rights, human rights laws, which have been formulated in United Nations conventions, even a baby has a right. Okay, it has the right to be loved, it has the right to be cared for, and it has the right to know the world as it is, not like a really bad way, but in a good way. That was the main reason why we got the anti-child labor laws, right? In India, we got the laws which prohibited child labor for that reason only, because a child of that age should know love, should know education, should not feel like they're being exploited. They're not being put into work where they may suffer some deformities or defects, which they may suffer lifelong. They will feel dejected about life. They have the right to live. Mainly it is that. Same way, even the surrogate child has the right to live and right to be loved. You might think like, oh no, even with surrogate, actually the person who's adopting, who's taking the surrogate will love them. Yes, they will love. But many times what happens is, not everything goes according to the plan, right? So many times what happens is, some child would be born with defects, deformities, or sometimes multiple pregnancies. They wanted only one child, or the couple who wanted a child from the surrogate only wanted one child because that is their income level and they don't want the second child. They would just pick one child and they'd leave the other child and go. And that child is unwanted by everyone. Because the surrogate, the mother who's bearing, who is a surrogate mother, she doesn't want the child because it's not hers, or she doesn't want to take care of the child because she already has a child of her own and she's only thinking about the monetary aspect. And the person who is coming to pick the child from the surrogate mother wanted only one child. So what will happen to the other twin? Or in case of triplets, what will happen to the other two? They will end up in what? Adoption homes. Yeah. So this has been rampant procedure which was happening, and there were many case laws which were reported on this, and because of which the law came into place. And the law has come into place for a reason, not for anything else. And another thing is, we have adoption process is still open. You know, we might think like if you're thinking about rights of same-sex marriages, or rights of some person saints who doesn't want to get married, or who wants to observe celibacy, or want to adopt, they can adopt the child. You know, there are many adoption homes, there are many orphans who needs the love and care of the people. They can always go and adopt any kid. But where this problem happens is, with the surrogacy, they want a child who looks like them, but they don't want to go through the reproduction process. They want to commercially, because they have they extra money or anything like that, they were going with the surrogacy. So that was banned. But if somebody who really wants, who are childless couples or widows or divorcees who want to have a child, they can actually approach any family members, and they can still go ahead with the altruistic, as we call this as altruistic surrogacy, that is still allowed. So I hope I am clear with all the concepts, and I've tried to explain it without clouding too much of legal jargons. So I hope you understand the process and what it entails, and I hope I'm clear. And if any feedback, any comments, please put it in the comment section below. I love reading them. If I have time, I'll respond to them. And I'm seeing many are commenting about the next video topics. I have that in my mind. I have kept a notebook and I'm jotting it down, and I'll try to make one by one. So I'll see you next time. Until then, bye.